Good everyone, welcome to this video, and today we have a bit of an unusual topic to discuss today. Now, typically I wouldn't do a video like this, but I think because of how increasingly common this is becoming, I really have to put something out there and just be like a PSA, so to speak. Now, there's going to be a term that I use, sometimes I use it in my videos as well, of where I call someone this. Now, if you are one of these, I hope this video really opens your eyes up a little bit. Don't take it negatively, just think of it as a positive, like you can learn from this, so to speak. Now, the topic is bomber zombies. Now, I know what you're thinking. Do you think it's a bomber that's lost both wingtips, is considered dead, and it kills you? I mean, that's appropriate, but that's not what we're on about. The term bomber zombie, at least in my mind, is where someone will spend the entire match chasing a bomber. Now, this could also be known as Pete syndrome. What I mean by Pete syndrome is there is a user in our Discord and community called Bullseye Pete, and he kind of has his own knack for going after bombers the entire game when he could get like 4 kills and do his tasks a lot quicker. And he will literally chase bombers the entire game if you give him the chance. I think he chased a Halifax for about 20 minutes once. But yeah, I wanted to bring this up in a video because I really want to like open up and try and help these people, so to speak, because at the end of the day, they may not realize what they're doing wrong, and obviously when you're intercepting something like a B-18, you really do have to be careful about it. Now, of course, this isn't going to apply in some circumstances. If you're intercepting a yurt, I mean, feel sorry for the guy first, and then shoot him down. But think of your actions before you intercept the yurt, or any other bomber in general. Because at the end of the day, the differences that could happen from him getting a slight gunner hit on you, which could damage your engine, or your oil, or even your water systems, and think of how that could affect your match, and let alone affect the outcome of your results. The main reason why I'm trying to point this out is because over the last few days, I've been seeing a lot of these, and this replay that I'm going to be showing you does have a lot of those examples. And originally, I was going to use a match that I had in the XP50, where I had a bomber zombie on my team. He actually contacted me after the match and tried to say that he wasn't one, but sorry to say, pal, you was displaying every symptom of a bomber zombie player. Now, there are obviously quite a few differences between a skilled bomber zombie and a average bomber zombie, and unfortunately, the majority of the players that you're going to meet who are bomber zombies are average players. I don't really see skilled players doing it, to be brutally honest, unless they are just flying through and happen to see the bomber in their gun sight. That's not really a bomber zombie, that's just target of opportunity. The differences between a target of opportunity and a bomber zombie is the target of opportunity, you take one pass at it, maybe kill it, maybe not, and then you leave it alone. As simple as that. Now, obviously, I use the B-18 a lot for doing my bombing tasks. I use it for ground pounding tasks. I use it for all sorts. And I even use it for crit tasks if I want to, because it's just that versatile. But over time, I've been, not just in this thing, but I've been seeing it in plenty of fighters as well. Bomber zombies are becoming more and more common, and I kind of want to like point out to them, this is a bad idea, don't do this. And I think the only way I can do that is if I actually showcase and show you exactly what a bomber zombie is. So, let's go take a look at the replay and I can point out what I mean. And welcome to the match. We're going to demonstrate exactly what I mean by a bomber zombie. So, I've just dropped my bombs. I'm doing at this time a special task where I need 15 bases. I was at about 11 when I was doing this match. Now, the two players I'm pointing out here are Spirit9791941 and El Maximusel. I think that's how you say it. Now, I don't want these players getting harassed. That is one thing I don't want. So if I find out that you've been harassing them, I am not going to be pleased. However, if they happen to watch this video, I hope you at least learn something from this, guys, because you made a pretty few errors, and this really made your team suffer because of it. Specifically, I want to point out Maximal's plane. If we go to this, you will see that he's flying a P-51C-10, which is a very competitive plane in this day and age. Now, Spirit is in a regular cannon stang, the American P-51 Mustang with the 4 Hispano cannons. This arguably wouldn't have made a huge difference to the outcome of the match, but given his altitude, he could have done. But I digress. I mainly wanted to point it out because of the P-51C. This thing has an incredible rate of climb, a decent turn, and is arguably the best Mustang other than the H. So, this is why I'm pointing this out to them. So, I've dropped my bombs, they know I've dropped my bombs, but they are continuing to pitch up and head towards me. And obviously I'm taking note of this, and I'm just thinking, I've got a pair of bomber zombies right here. I'm going to have to teach these guys a lesson, because the simple fact of the matter is look at our altitude. We're at almost 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers, I don't know how it converts into meters. But if Maxim was helping his team, he could be clapping cheeks right now. Because as I said, if I just go to the free camera and back out a little bit, you can see that most of the team is down low. We do have a couple of 109s at altitude, but if we look at the planes that they are, Mecha's in an E3, Nixon is in an E4. He would have the speed advantage and the turn rate advantage, and if he was backed up by his P-51 buddy, aka Spirit, they could really do some work and potentially turn the tide of this match. But as you're going to tell, this match doesn't last very long. And there's a good reason for that. Not just because their team was turn fighting constantly and just not paying attention, but because these two just didn't provide the help that their team needed. I'm targeting Maxim first because I saw that it was a silver P-51, and I knew immediately it was a C. And there goes Maxim. Target number 2, Spirit. He's stalled out right in front of my gun. And there we go. That's 2 easy kills in less than a minute. Because they just didn't manage their energy, they didn't really do anything to make it difficult for me. Sure, Spirit tried to dodge, but he was at way too low of an airspeed to be even attempting that. Now obviously this isn't going to apply to every bomber, because not every bomber has a offensive gun that the pilot can actually use. But regardless, even if I was in something like an MB-162 heavy bomber, the 20mm Hispano can still do some damage. And it can soak up quite a few hits as well. And if I was in something like a ME-264, which to be fair the Allison Mustang wouldn't meet that, but just imagine it would, it really opens up your eyes just how much of a problem this could become for your teams. And that's why I kind of want to point this out to you all, and to the community in general, because this just isn't a good idea. These two players have got no points. All they've done is given me points which, to be fair, I didn't need. I mean, I'm researching an A32. It's not exactly going to be stellar in terms of RP gain. But I've gotten my base kills. I've done my job. And I still have 8 little bombs to crater your runway with, which, to be fair, isn't going to make a huge difference. But if we had another bomber which could level that airfield in one run, aka a BV-238, this game would have been over in mere minutes. It would have been over quicker than those two contributing to the match would have mattered. But because we didn't have a BV-238, this match ended differently. They ended because of the sheer amount of players that were slaughtered down on the deck. Now again, I don't want to see these players harassed for their mistakes. If anything, I want them to learn from it. Because, yes, if I was in something like an MB-162, they could have gotten the kill. It depends on the circumstances. But the important factor is that they had a pretty strong plane for 3-7, and they had an average plane for 3-7. The teammates at altitude were in solid aircraft, but they're not as good as what they're going to be fighting against. The P-51C would whoop both the E3 and E4's arse any day of the week. And the Allison P-51 would have the firepower advantage and the speed advantage, even at altitudes where we were. And I want to make this very clear. Do not chase bombers at the start of the game. I know it's not going to work against Pete, but I'm hoping it works against some of you. Just don't do it, because the majority of the time, you're not helping anyone. If anything, if you die to the bomber, you're arguably helping the bomber spade his plane, or do a task that he's trying to do. Or she, because, well, I've seen a couple of female pilots, but, you know, irrelevant. The point is that you need to learn from this mistake. Because if we look at the enemy team now, they're already down 6 planes. Soon to be 7, which is this I-16. The enemy team is going to get absolutely slaughtered on the deck. This Yak 9 is going to try and runway camp, which doesn't work out for him. And if we compare the team list, we have a Wyvern that's done his job and he's going fighter mode. We had the 2 E's at altitude, which I pointed out, Nixon Fox and Mecha. We have a P-63, which is better than the one they have. We also have Spitfires. Well, a Spitfire. I don't remember what these guys were flying though, but regardless, I'm pointing this out. Because the difference is that those two could have turned the tide. And I want to help them with that. So if you happen to know Spirit or Maxim, send them this video. And honestly, if you are watching this to this point, guys, and I'm referring to Spirit and Maxim, I really hope this opens your eyes up a bit and just gives you that more idea. Because as someone who used to do that, because yeah, I used to do that many years ago. I used to just follow bombers because it was the first thing I saw, and I thought, oh, he's going to bomb our bases, we're going to lose the match. I did that at the start of my War Thunder career. I'm not even joking. I did that in arcade, which is a bit different to RB because obviously you don't get respawns, but it's still relevant. That's how I actually got my goal to get a TB3 and a PO2, because all I did was chase them because I'd never seen them before. I did end up shooting down both bombers, but it cost me 2 aircraft in doing so. And I just hope that really opens up your eyes. But anyway, I'm going to leave it here. I hope this really opens up your eyes in general, and I hope Pete even learns from this, although I doubt it, because it's Pete. But I just hope this really helps out those players that are commonly doing this, and I just hope that, well, for a start, I will be monitoring the comments, so do not harass any of the players featured in this video, and most importantly, don't harass people who admit to being a bomber zombie. Because at the end of the day, it's a mentality you can break out of, and I'm hoping to do that by pointing this out. But anyway, I shall see you all on the next one.